inspiração para todos nós.
Olá,
Hi Terry, how are you? Boa tarde.
Boa tarde, obrigado pelo convite. Vou falar português um pouco.
Um pouco de português e muito bom.
Deixa-me só aumentar o som.
Terry, muito obrigado por estares connosco. Deixa-me apresentar-te para quem não te conhece. O Terry, eu vou ler. Terry Hamill, the Scottish hairdressing boxer, left school before he was expelled. So I think you have something very valuable to share with us regarding this history with boxing and so on. I think people could learn a lot about you and also can be inspired by our story. Now living in Portugal, a business network most people would dream of. Terry runs the world's largest referral organization, BNI.
BNI.
Over 2,070 businesses come together and follow the philosophy of Giver's Gain.
Já vamos falar sobre isso.
A lot about Giver's Gain. Now a professor at Nova SBE and faculty member of Singularity University. Singularity University, I think this is another hot spot that you want to share with us. He enjoys other people succeeding. With his business partner Team Vieira, they launched the first true entrepreneurship club for kids.
Amazing
project, and Terry can be found at www.bne.pt.
Congratulations, Terry.
Wow.
Working with kids, it's amazing, and help them to communicate, helping them to expand their skills are really a mission. And thank you to be here with us.
We're all kids. We're just grown up kids, right? That's the whole idea of happiness is to be still as happy as you were with a child with all the other stresses, you know. So working with kids actually gives me a completely new energy. And even working with Nova, you know, the Nova students are between 21 and 26. So when I go there as a 49-year-old guy, I kind of come out there with a new energy of intelligent people. So it's really cool. Thank you for having me today, and thank you. And it's a great honor for me because it's the Liberdade Day. It's the Vincing de Abril Day. It's the most important day in Portugal. So
yeah,
I kind of feel like I'm honored to be here with you guys. So I really appreciate it.
And this, for us, is very special to have you here because you have like the skill to free the minds of people that are, you know, in jail of themselves.
Yes, and you know, today I was training, you know, just walking around my home and our home. And,
workout,
working out, and it was amazing because a thought pops up in my mind, and the thought was something that Nelson Mandela said when he was freed from his prison, and he said something like, well, if I'm, you know, being freed from all of 27 years in a prison, and now I'm free, but if I keep still thinking about, you know, if I keep having thoughts of, you know, hatred and for no reason, yes, reasons, but hatred and revenge and so on. So I'm outside of the jail, but I'm still inside the jail. So
and
I think it's related with freedom, and today, it's the day of freedom for all Portuguese people.
Yeah, it's true. And we saw a lot of entrepreneurs that people that are, you know, like stuck. Okay, now we have the time and the freedom. We don't have the physical freedom, but we have the freedom to progress, to expand, to share, and some of them are stuck. So what message can you say to a lot of entrepreneurs?
You know, it's a perfect day to talk about this. It's a perfect day to talk about freedom, and you know, I love some of the Portuguese words. You know, liberdade is such an incredible feeling, and you know, I think part of where I'm coming from with this is to make sure that you surround yourself with the people who really pull you up, that stretch you, that are the guys and the girls that really almost kind of lift you up when you're not feeling your best. And I think it was about 3 years ago I embarked on really trying to push myself into different networks. You know, I run a very, very big small business network, BNI, you know BNI. amazing members. And for me, I wanted to kind of surround myself with just a slightly different mix, because you know, in BNI, I've done it for 21 years. I kind of know what I'm doing, and I wanted to almost jump off the cliff and try something different. And that's where the whole, I mean, I met Tim, and I want to talk about Tim for a second, because Tim Vieira is a beautiful character. He's a beautiful man. And, you know, one of the things I'm doing with Singularity, Antonio, you talked about Singularity, is that one of the things that leaders stay away from, particularly when you are vulnerable right now and you're going through challenges, is that they don't share their true feelings. And I'm a big fan of that. Like I told him when I first had a proper meeting with him, I said, look, I want to tell you about my past, because I think if we're going to be close together in the future, it's important that you understand where I come from. And I talked about my abuse. I was abused as a kid, and I never understood that I was abused until I was 28 years of age. And now I don't talk about it as an unfortunate thing. I talk about it as it shaped my future. And Tim said, oh my God, he said, you know, I'm just about to make a film called Carga, which was about stopping trafficking of people into Portugal. And we just kind of hit it off, you know. So before we talk about flipping it, you almost have to kind of give yourself, like, really be all in, you know. And particularly leaders right now need to, if they screw up, say, I'm sorry. If you do something wrong, Jesus, fix it, you know. And this whole, I mean, I'll talk about the flip it stuff, but when you are surrounding yourself with beautiful people like you guys, like I really like you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Antonio and I, you know, we spoke at an event with Jose Quintero. I know Jose is listening here, and it was my first time to see you. You're beautiful communicators. The world needs beautiful communicators.
Thank you.
You know, if you could be in, and I know you don't want to do politics, but if you could be on a political stage, you'd have, you know, votes through the ceiling. So I think the first stage of setting your mindset is to surround yourself with brilliant people. And I always said to myself, there's an amazing thing that it's in a book called Tribal Leadership. And they talk about the 5 levels of leadership. And I love this. It's resonated with me for a long time. Level 1, life sucks. Level 1, life sucks. It's everybody else's fault. It's their problem. It's their fault. Level 2 is my life sucks. You're the problem. Okay. Level 3 is I am amazing. I am great, which is a egotistical leader. Level 4 is we are great, but they are not. But the ultimate is level 5 is life is great. And when you live in life is great, and you do that, you know, and Antonio, you do that, you live life is great because you are giving of your skills and your knowledge and everything to people. And then when you meet people who also live in life is great, everything happens. And I don't have a fear. I might lose my business. I might lose track, you know, but I know that I have a lot of people with my back. If I called for help, they would help me. You know, I know if I called Jose Quintero tomorrow, he'd say, come and do something, let's help each other. So I think the first part of you talking about the mindset is get out of your existing network if it's not motivating you. Talk to different people. I just did a quiz show for 90 minutes with 50 kids in our swim team. I hosted it. We did quizzes. Do something different just to enthuse people. And when you do that, the other things attract you. You know, you kind of get a lot of things that come into your life. Does that make sense?
Yes, for sure.
Terry, it makes all the sense. And you talked about Jose Quintero. As you know, he's also a very good friend of us.
Yeah.
He put us in touch. So, and yeah, he's here, and he's an amazing human being, just like you. So
it's a bridge. Jose Quintero is a bridge.
It's a bridge. Always making bridges between people, and he's amazing. Always saying yes. He said something that for us is also very important. When we call Jose Quintero, he always says yes. How can I help? How can I serve? How can I contribute? So amazing human beings just like you, Terry. So the place you come from had an influence in the person that you are right now?
Yeah, definitely, definitely. And, you know, it's the irony of me working at Nova and being chosen for a small group of Singularity faculty, like Singularity University, Portugal, is amazing. I mean, I'm talking about hanging around with neuroscientists, AI, technology people, you know, future of work, future of people. And I'm in the room thinking, I'm kind of, I'm supposed to be cleaning the toilets or something. I'm not supposed to be here. You know what I mean?
Oh, don't say
And
that.
it's like, so where I came from, I was thrown out of school at 15. They hated me and I hated them. I hated school. But what I didn't realize, and this is a real mindset stuff, is I didn't realize that when my abuse happened between 7 and 15, that was my turmoil years. I had no idea what was happening because the abuse happened, but my subconscious mind blocked the whole thing out. It suppressed the whole thing. It said, this kid can't deal with it. So I never even understood what happened. And I never went back to find out because I don't care about the past. I need to care about the future. So no education, hated school, became a hairdresser. And hairdressing was one of the best professions for me because, you know, I get to, when you touch a woman's hair, you have an intimate discussion, proximity with that person. I was a brilliant men's hairdresser, and men had that time where we could really connect with conversations. So I had those parts of education. And now I'm teaching in Nova with the Masters of Finance, Economics. I'm like, Jesus, how did I get here? I got here because I asked. I wrote down a couple of things. I'm like, you've got to be first. Like, have the courage to take risks. You know, the courage of when someone says, can you do it? And like, yeah, you know how much I love Jose Quintero, right? So there's a wonderful sentence that explains Jose and I. If somebody asks you to do something, say yes, and then figure the stuff out afterwards, because I don't know all the answers. So if Jose or you said to me, like, would you do a video with you? Well, yeah, totally. How's it going to work? I have no idea. This is my first ever Instagram video. So I'm like, oh, okay, this is how it works. Just if you have passion in your heart, if you care about people, and you have a clear direction in the future, those great people will come around you. But I think they only come around me because I'm vulnerable. Vulnerability is such an important thing. Mm-hmm. You could call me any time of the day and I would help you. That's fact. And I want you to be the same with me. And I don't come from a place of I need help. I come from a place of that sometimes I have really, really bad days because of my abuse and my thinking and stuff like that. And, you know, I know then that when you are with the right people that they help you. And that wasn't taught to me at school. That's my passion with the Brave Generation stuff. You know, Tim and I sat down and brainstormed this whole program. And by the way, they're going to take it through Singularity. They're going to take it through Cascais. They're going to implement it into schools. Amazing. Because no school teaches entrepreneurship for young people. We had just completed the meeting with the guys the day of the COVID happened at Nova. It was like, we spent 2 years planning it. Yeah, great, all this stuff. And the kids loved it. And then I was with Tim and the guys from Cascais, the guys from the Singularity. And then it's like, oh, we can't shake hands today because it's COVID. I'm like, okay. So it's kind of weird because we were like building up to this thing and then it paused. But this is I mean, you must feel this, right? This whole time is a real interesting phase for people's motivation and people's direction, you know. And the topic that I want to talk about, the flip it is, no matter what situation you're in right now, you can flip that, you can turn that around in an instant. But it's pensar, you call it pensar, right? It's the mindset of that. So when you ask me, does it link to where I come from? I think so, but I genuinely think that if you're a good person, you're going to do really well. If you can sleep at night and say, I've helped enough people, and you're not greedy, and it's not about, ego, then I think you'll do well. And I touch wood, I've kind of lasted okay. I've done all right. But the priority right now is health, feeding my family, and managing my businesses. So it's an interesting time.
Terry, how was the transition of BNI to digital?
Oh, incredible flip it. Incredible flip it. I mean, and I got to tell you that there was some people that didn't make a good job of it. You know, there was, because we are 73 countries, we are almost 900 franchise areas, 272,000 members, and like I'm very good digitally. You know, I'm really good at tech. I'm really good. I've been doing automation for years. I'm really good at Zoom, and I pulled our team together and I said, look, we need to have a meeting. This was on a couple of weeks into it, and we had a 5-hour Zoom meeting and said to the entire team, we need to be prepared for this new world. When we finished that call, some of the guys said, no, our members are going to be meeting face to face. And I said, that's not going to happen. You're going to be this week, next week, it could change. That night it changed. And we had spent these hours preparing what were we going to do. So what we did was, again, this talks about empathy, it talks about vulnerability. I'm very fortunate. I think Luis is maybe watching this. Luis is my next door neighbor in my new office. He's a video guy. And I did a beautiful video that just said, guys, it doesn't matter what happens. If you're sick, we're there. If you need money, we're there. We will support you as a BNI membership, whatever happens. And I sent that video out. It's translated in subtitles to every single member. And we caught that really early. And BNI has now, it's really fascinating because I'm a member of BNI. I'm a president of BNI. I run my own meeting every week. We have 40 members. Last week, we had 65 people in the meeting. We had people from Poland, from Brazil. So it's really interesting how this whole world has captured that.
And it's easy to invite. Now it's easy. People have time.
You can go anywhere.
Yeah.
And you can wear your shorts. You can wear your underwear. You know what I mean? It brings new things. So that, in fact, Tim went to a meeting. He said it's unbelievable because you have businesses connecting. And here's the interesting thing about BNI. BNI, you know, obviously, is it about referrals right now? Maybe not, because some people just don't have a businesses. It's about this. It's about gelling people together, for God's sake, and helping them. We have probably 25% of my group that will go out of business. I don't care about that. I care about keeping the motivation, keeping them in. And I have a separate company called Tribes. So Tribes is a mastermind group of 10 people that get together and we do creative thinking about where they are right now, personally, professionally, health. It's set up, it's a I'm not charging any money for it. I'm just putting people in small groups to motivate them. And I think if you're a leader, because we are leaders in the organization, we must care for, first of all, our team, and secondly, making sure that the team are motivated to motivate the clients. So I'm delighted with BNI Portugal. I'm like, I could cry. I'm so proud of the people here. But I have seen poor leadership in the franchise in other countries where they just didn't have that empathy. So if you've got empathy and you can act fast and pick it up and go for it, it's great. And, you know, Portuguese are very creative, right? They're really good. I mean, it's amazing. We've got work to do. We've got things to do. But I'm like on Saturday. Yes, what day is it? Friday. By the way, every day is the same day, right? I don't even know is it Tuesday, is it Friday? Yesterday afternoon, we had a 3-hour conference virtually with 450 members in the country. We had a guy called Ricardo Teixeira. You must have him as a speaker. Ricardo Teixeira is the Kai guy, amazing guy. So he did a 90-minute conference with our members yesterday, and we had 450 people in. It was like, you know, trying to get that organized in Portugal without the crisis is a disaster. Driving 6 hours to the Algarve or Porto, I think it's amazing time. Amazing time.
We have here, just let me say that we also have here Rafael Nassif.
Olá, Rafael. Olha, o Carlos também entrou agora, Pedro.
We have a lot of people here that I'm sure
Right.
that are enjoying a lot what you are sharing with us. When I look at you and when I feel you, I know that you are an amazing human being, but I also see a visionary, someone that envisions, you know, just far away a lot. So, what do you envision in this new normal that is already happening? What are the three main skills that people
Must
must
have.
develop,
Yeah.
you know, in order to cope with the new normal? What can you share with all the entrepreneurs and business networkers and so on and so forth?
Okay. Okay. Good. It's a great question. Great question. So when I would like to replace the word visionary for dreamer, because, and this kind of goes back to my story at school. My teachers always said to me, "Get your head out of the clouds. Stop looking out the window. Stop dreaming." When I go to bed, I can't sleep at night. I'm so excited. I dream about stuff, you know. I'm like, oh, like what would it be? Like what if? What if? So if I was to break it down to three things, is really get good at certain stuff, like digital. You guys, I mean, you've transformed your presence. You
In two
guys are
days.
face-to-face people. Yeah. I mean, what you're doing right now is wonderful. So, you know, you're really face-to-face people. You are
Yeah.
huggy people. You're
Yeah.
an audience person. So the world temporarily has gone digital. You need to get really, really good at that stuff. We're working on a project right now that will revolutionize education. I'm talking about blow it out of the water. Now, I've spent 15 years on operation software systems that is now preparing me for this thing. So I'm like, okay, I'm good at that. And I think you have to find your passion. Like, so first of all, first step one is get really technical. You know, if you're not using this technology, then find it. YouTube is the most amazing place in the world to learn everything. Secondly, I would say that you almost have to take the situation that you have and follow it around your passion. What are you passionate about? What's your skill? Like, what can you really do? So I had there's a formula that I've used for years called RTM. Now, I'm a team builder, right? I have franchisees. We have almost 200 directors. I have franchisees in Brazil and stuff. So R is recruit, you know, or attract, or cajole. No bribing. No, I'm not talking about bribing. I'm talking about attracting people to you. So R is recruit. T is train. Train people really, really well. And the third one is M, motivate, is love people. So the formula RTM is recruit, train, and motivate teams, because you cannot do things alone. You need to have people around you. So your technical skills, you find your passion, and then you find the people that fit with that passion. I'm a big fan of personality profiling. There's amazing systems out there, you know. So I follow, you know, I'm an ENFP. It's a Myers-Briggs thing, but I'm not interested in my style. I'm interested in the 15 other people, because I know, for example, my wife is the most incredible woman in the world. She is the opposite style to me. So I'm like, let's do a party. Let's do the party. She's like, yeah, but we don't have any drink. Oh, okay. I forgot about that. Or so you kind of almost have to surround yourself with a perfect team.
Yeah.
And that's where you have the likes of you or Zik and Tyro or Rafa.
Yeah.
If I called Rafa now and said, Rafa, I have an idea. I think you're perfect for that. He'd say, let's go. So, you know, and genuinely, I hope he agrees. Maybe he's not. Maybe he's in the Alan Tej drinking wine. He's not bothered. But
no, he's here. He's here.
so I would say get really strong at digital, because it's not going to go away anyway. Find your passion and build something around your Now, a lot of people get stuck at this. They don't know how to get out of it. Okay.
Yeah.
Because they are almost, and I see this in Portuguese a lot. It's a common trait, is that they are tough on themselves. You're tough on yourselves. You know, you need to kind of be, I understand the freedom thing, and this is bizarre, we're talking about it today, is that I care less about what's going to happen, the implications of that, because I know I'm a good person and I take a lot of risks. A lot of my Portuguese network are kind of afraid to jump, And that's what we need to do. We need to jump. We need to go and try it. And if it didn't work out, no problem. My mother, God, 7 years ago, she said that if there's no blood and nobody died, what's the risk? Go out and take it. So I think that's an important factor, is to keep motivated.
And we are talking about freedom in the Freedom Day. José Quinteiro is saying here, let's go for it. And we also would say, if you call us and said something like that,
let's go.
Let's go. Because, you know, it's that level of connection that you are talking about. With
sharing is the same values.
What you are saying that, you know, when you,
it's a common values. It's a common values. And I'm very interested in know a little bit more about your Entrepreneur Kids Club, because I believe it's something that we love to see. It's kids want to do more. Yesterday, our daughter, the older one, asking me what my friend can do to not be like paralyzed to do a presentation. So we were sharing with him some tips, and we motivate her to do. She opened a page of the Judo Club, and she's doing lives, a web page in Instagram, and she's doing lives with Olympic athletes.
Wow.
So,
great.
But she's very shy. So it was like a program to develop, and she's really doing well. So tell us about more how kids and young people can be coached, can develop and expand and transform the fears of the judgment and believe in themselves and expand.
Well, let's look at where the fears and judgment come from. And in a lot of cases, parents. We specifically set the club up. You know, you've been to Tim's Garage, right? You know the place there. So we set the original club up in the garage, and the whole idea would be for half an hour, the kids can come in, they play the games, they're just interacting with each other. And the rules are, we never tell them to shut up. We never tell them what to do. We treat them like on the same level. And when you give them that space, they almost kind of like, it takes them off guard, because they're expecting us to say, okay, today we're going to do this, this, this. And it's like, we're like, how do you feel? What would you like to work on? I'd like to do that. Great. How are you going to do that? So I think it's about style. It's also about, you know, we've had the most amazing kids, and the older kids kind of come in and expect everything to be dull. It's like, you know, come on, I'm on the phone, I need things to be fast. But what they don't have is they don't have people communicating with them very well, you know, and just sitting down and saying, what are you doing? How are you? How are you feeling about that? That's amazing. So when you know, this intimate communication with a young person, they're not getting it. They're getting external influences from media and, you know, all the kind of social channels. So I think when you're dealing with children, you must put your teacher hat aside, and you must bring out your human being and just be good to them, you know, and guide them and mentor them. So rather than teaching anybody, this is more about mentorship and inspiration. And, you know, by the way, there's a great statement that I believe in you more than you believe in yourself.
Yep. And
I genuinely do that. I mean, you guys are in my world insanely successful, but I still believe in you more than you do. If you can teach a child that, and we had this thing called talk about fear, and we had one of the girls, really lovely girl, Emma, and she blew up a balloon to the max. Okay, one of the sessions we do is about fear. She blew the balloon was almost as big as her, and the idea is you keep blowing it till it pops, but nothing happens, right? It's just a noise. And we're teaching them fear. The acronym of fear: false evidence appearing real.
Wow, amazing.
False evidence.
Amazing.
Now, for the adults in the room, there is another one, which is F everything and run, which is a different one to talk about. But for the kids, it's false evidence appearing real. All of this stuff is in our minds. So I think the Brave Generation is owned and led by two entrepreneurs who have got crazy backgrounds as kids. That's what makes it work. is because we're not coming from the academic world. I think that's what the Cascais guys like. That's what Singularity like, and that's where I think we can almost do like a wraparound for education for young kids.
And I will tell us more details. How old are the kids? How can they join? Okay,
yeah, funny,
where can they search more information?
Well, right now we're moving the entire business probably to the school network. So we're going to do it there. And then once we probably run a 6-month program with Cascais, we'll get it everywhere in the country, and then we'll probably scale it up and do it internationally. There's a few things that that I do if I have a choice of a business. One, I must own it. Okay, I'm unemployable. No one wants to employ a guy like me. And 2, it needs to be scalable. If it's not scalable, I'm not doing it. And why am I doing that? I'm doing it because I want to leave a legacy for my kids, because I live in a world of where the philosophy is very important for me, is that I would rather have 10% of 100 pies than 90% of one. Yep. And therefore I don't worry about control. By the way, all of my franchisees make more money than me. All of them. But individually, I make more money than the whole. But they make more money than me, and that's the whole idea, is that they're more motivated than me to do it. And as an entrepreneur, you're almost like a juggle. You make sure you juggle the things. So we will be scaling that up, but we want to make sure that we inspire probably 5,000 kids first, because you know, kids give you the rules, they teach you how to change it. So it's a great process. It's a great process. The age, by the way, is probably, like we talked about this at the beginning. Tim was very adamant that we said, no, it must be 12 to 15, you know, not the 16s. We now have kids of 9 right up to 18.
Oh, amazing.
Because we're all kids. We're all kids. So we're trying not to pigeonhole it. And we'll see. I mean, I think I love working with young kids. You know, I like working at Nova with the 26-year-olds, and they're equally as enthusiastic, because for the very first time, someone really cares about them. Like at Nova is interesting, because it's a whole new world for me. I've never been in such a great establishment, you know. And I was there right at the beginning when Pedro Santa Clara had brought all the people there. And I go into the classroom and I play music. So I'm at the door, I play music, I'm there 1 hour before anyone arrives, and I've got funky music going on, and I shake every single person's hand as they come through the door and say, how are you, and how are you, and how are you? And there's classes of 50 or 60. And they go, oh my God, what are you trying to sell me here? It's like, you're joking. I'm trying to say hello to you. I'm going to spend 2 days with you. And I think if you can spend time with people and be close to people, I think that's where your success will come from.
You know, you talked a lot about sharing, and for us also sharing. You know, on the beginning of this quarantine period, the first day, you know, we had a 3 months period with all of these businesses, all of these trainings in business.
Our calendar was full for 3 months.
One day, people call us saying, no more. So, or you're going to quit, or you're going to delay for another time. And we said, we cried for 1 hour, and then we said, yeah, we are going to create a new dream.
What is the opportunity?
And the thing was that we were, you know, always talking about doing our digital transformation for 6 months.
But we were doing, you know, very slowly, because 99% we were inside companies. So
and then, you know,
2 days.
1 week, not 2 days.
No, 2 days we shift everything.
We shift everything, but in 1 week, we had most of our programs, training programs, all, you know,
live streaming,
learning bases, and so on. And I also remembered about a quote from Jim Rohn. I think you know Jim Rohn. The guy was brilliant, and he used to say something like, "When we help enough people to get what they want, you can have everything you want."
Yeah.
Does it make sense? And does it resonate with your philosophy and also with Singularity? Because I want to ask you to talk about that amazing project, Singularity University.
Yeah, Singularity is incredible. I mean, that sentence was one of the sentences that Ivan Meisner stole from Jim Rohn a long time ago. Ivan was the founder of BNI. And I kind of heard that in California, and I thought, that's a beautiful thing. You can have whatever you want in life as long as you help everybody else. And I think kindness is something that's lacking. Empathy is something that's lacking, and being good without the desire to just get something back is lacking. It's, you know, it's almost like, you know, people are kind of looking to do stuff. And this world, you're absolutely right, this world has taught us to step back. And if you notice, the great leaders are shining. The bad leaders are being magnified. They're being magnified because you just cannot run this way without it. So the Singularity Project came from the Curry Club. So many of the guys that will be on here, is that was 7 years ago. Is it 7 years ago? Maybe 6 years ago, I started a thing called the Curry Club. Now the Curry Club has got 3 rules, very simple rules. Okay, you don't have to write it down. Number 1, drink beer. Number 2, drink wine. And number 3, eat curry. No more rules. We built that group. There was a friend of mine who's now gone back to Ireland. We built that group from 2 members to 615 members that met once a month for social, no business, casual, you know, good conversation. And so Pedro Santa Clara was in the Curry Club, and he said, "What do you do?" I said, "Well, I do a few different things." He'd come and see me in Campolide, and then all the changes with Nova, and then Daniel Trassa became the Dean of Nova. Then I became close with Danielle, and he said, "Listen, I think this Singularity thing will be good for you." You know, I said again, "Great, I'll do it." I had no idea what the hell Singularity is. Yeah, sure, I'm totally in. I'm like, yeah, of course. Like, I said to my wife, "What the hell is Singularity? You need to Google that." And then I got interviewed by João, who was running Singularity for the University of Portugal. I was actually in England. I was in the middle of setting up a new company there, and I said, "Sorry, I've got to take this call." And he interviewed me for about an hour and said, "What do you do?" I said, "I don't really know." He said, "What do you do?" And I said, "I do this. I talk about empathy, leadership." "Oh my God, you'd be great in Singularity." I said, "Okay." We went through 4 of the best days of training ever. We had the guys who teach TEDx from Canada, called Talk Boutique, and they were sensational. I mean, I know you guys are communication guys. Yeah. They were sensational. One of the leaders of that sat me down and said, "Okay, I've listened to you for 2 days. This is your story." And she just communicated my story about my abuse and how I help companies like that. I was like, wow. So they crafted us, they kind of rubbed the rough edges off us. So now what we're doing is we're doing work for large corporates, where we go in and almost kind of workshop and inspire them to be different leaders and things like that. So, but Singularity is all about exponential growth. And right now we're talking about exponential growth in the most direct case, which is the COVID stuff. We're seeing all these things. So my place in there is almost like a leadership. I'm part of the leadership faculty there. But I've got to say, there's some geniuses there. We have Oziama, we have Nuno, we've got Arlindo, who was the Dean of Technical, is a big artificial intelligence guy. I'm like, what the hell are these guys talking about? But it's amazing. But it's a great thing. I mean, we're doing webinars and stuff like that. So I'll get you. You guys would be great speakers there. I mean, they are looking for great people to be part of it. So we should do that gig together.
Sure. Yeah, like
sure.
Say yes.
Say yes. So
say yes.
I know
figure
that.
it out. Yeah.
Sure. So let's do it. There's something that we also want to ask you, and that's about this acronym that you told me before, which is flip it. Flip it around. You talked just a little bit about it, but can you develop something more? And also, we want to ask you to make like a transfer for the people who are listening to this live, and which they are facing struggling in their lives with their businesses and families, and we are in a challenging times. So what can you say, and what would you suggest for this people that are really struggling and now can flip it, turn it around?
Okay, and I actually, I'm going to start with everybody's equal. Everybody's equal. So this was maybe 3 weeks ago, so I put my life and soul into BNI. I've done it for 21 years. I'm in love with BNI more than BNI loves itself. And on a Wednesday is my day, right? I do 10 till 1 o'clock with my team. And I crashed. I cried my eyes out in the afternoon, 4 o'clock. And I was just so worried about everything. Jesus, my kids, my life, my businesses. I mean, my businesses weren't even on the list. It was just the enormity of this situation. Do you know what I mean? I was like, oh my God. And I was crying. And my son, who's 14, said, Dad, give me a hug. My daughter, my wife is like, so everybody's equal. Don't think that everybody's, you know, even if you put on a brave face, everybody's going through this pain. Mm-hmm. So take that as a level. And I called my best friend. Now he doesn't watch this kind of stuff, but I will share this video with him at some point. When you are down, you always call Dean, because no matter what you're doing, Dean's in some other level of despair that you've not even thought about. So I called him and said, look, I'm having a really bad day. I was crying. He's like, let me get a bottle of wine. Hold on a minute. What's going on? And he listened to me. He said, oh, yeah. I said, I'm sorry, man. I said, how are you? He said, well, my daughter's upstairs in isolation with COVID. And my father's just got terminal cancer and we can't see him. And I'm like, what am I thinking about? Like, and it was the enormity of the flip, you know, because whatever situation you're in, someone else is in a much, much worse situation. So I'm looking at the ocean, right? I'm literally on the marginal. You know, I don't want to show it to the audience here because it's a little bit, no, I will. I'm going to show it. Look, that's Portugal. It's the most beautiful place in the world, with the most beautiful people in the world.
Imagine people in Syria.
Exactly. India, you know, anyway, we could go on and on and on. So the idea of Flip It comes from a guy called Michael Heppel. He has a book called Flip It, and I brought him to the casino in Lisbon to speak. It was with a good friend of mine, Louise Duarte from More Results, great customer service guy. So we had brought him there, and he's one of the best speakers I've ever seen, because he uses an incredible amount of technology, and he has this book called Flip It, and it's almost putting yourself in a position of, okay, I'm here right now. What do I have? What am I grateful for that I have? I can speak. Many people can't speak. I can breathe. Some people can't breathe. I have a beautiful wife. I have the ability to speak a little Portuguese. I have the ability to be creative. I have the ability to write. I have the ability to have a laptop. So when you start to write these things down, you then change your state of mind, because you live in I have these things, as opposed to, oh my God, everything's a panic, because it's not a panic. It's your mind screwing with you, thinking everything's screwed. And there's a lovely thing called Eggbok. Everything's going to be okay. It's a small acronym. Everything's going to be okay. And when Ivan had cancer, that he made that the thing, is that everything's going to be okay. And it will be okay, by the way. And anybody who's listening to this, particularly the Portuguese, they know that they have somebody who's got their back, because the Portuguese are like that. You know, there's a wonderful message on Facebook that says, if you're going to sleep tonight and you can't eat, call me. I will drop food at your house. That's the only thing that matters right now. So in terms of flipping the business, if you're not creative, pick up the phone to somebody who is creative and say, what would you do with my business right now? Have the courage to say, I'm struggling. Have the courage to say, listen, I mean, I know somebody right now who has got 200 euros in the bank, family of 4, most people would say he's screwed. I would say, great, what do we need to do to get out of that? You know what I mean? It's like a whole different mindset. So what's his passion? What's he good at? How can we introduce him to people? How can we flip it? So it's almost taking whatever situation you are and flipping it. And by the way, it's never came from a negative position before. It always came from Kaizen. How could I make it better? Every time I look at B&I get insanely disappointed because I know I could make it better. I could make it better. I could make it better. Now, it's a good product for many, but I look at everything and think, well, that could be better. And that's, if your mindset is in about change and doing that, I think you'll survive. That's why I think the tribes thing is so important, because if someone like me, who's very energetic and, you know, a doer, is managing your mental health, it's great for someone. So find people like me or find people like you that can help these guys at the minute. But get the book. The book is really, really clever. Michael Heppel. I'll send you the link on it. Michael Heppel. He has a lot of books. He has a book called 5-Star Service on a 1-Star Budget. It's a brilliant book. Now, what I'd like to do, this is one of my things, right? But I'd like for people who see this video in the past. In fact, you guys, if you could do this for me now, okay? What I'd like you to do is on the base of your palms, you'll see that there's lines. You see these lines?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. You should have a couple on each one. What I'd like you to do is match the lines exactly like this, okay? And then close your hands. Just close your hands like this. Okay. All right, just close your hands. And then one hand will be slightly shorter than the other, right? Okay. Antonio, you're probably perfect. You put your hands are probably perfect, right? There's one slightly shorter. Take the shorter hand and put it really close to your face. Okay, to take the shorter hand close to your face. We're going to tell it to grow 8 times. Okay, so after 3, 1, 2, 3, grow, 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 grow. Okay, shake out, shake out. Okay, pay attention, pay attention. Get the lines exactly together and very slowly close your hands.
It's perfect.
Okay.
Amazing.
You get what you focus on.
Yeah,
you get what you focus on. You get what you focus on.
Amazing.
Amazing.
This is
By the way,
the power of intention.
Exactly. By the way, it only works on hands, okay? I don't want you to be shouting that at any other parts of your body, okay?
Guys, please do it at home because this is an amazing dynamic. I was, hilarious with this. I'm really surprised.
And I will catch what Terry said, and if someone that listened this talk wants to have ideas, can call me, send me a message, because sometimes my husband say, please stop with the ideas, and I need to give ideas if I cannot. So call me.
Awesome. Okay. You're doing great work. You're doing great work. I see your stuff. It's full of energy. You're surrounding yourself with people who I think right now have got the capacity to inspire others, and that's great. I'm on a call 3-4 times a week with Tim, and Tim's like a ball of nuclear energy. He's like, and I go, okay, great. So he's mega creative, like crazy creative. So it's nice to be with him.
Do you know that something have like a shift that we felt? It's like we start doing so many workshops for free for our companies. They are our clients. We start with them, giving back the trust that they put in us in the last years about transforming the isolation in productivity. We had the first 2 days speaking with entrepreneurs, our clients, and big corporate managers, and now we are opening. But it's like, we said in the beginning, we want to achieve at least 2,000 people, because we believe that when the start will come, there is a lot of people that are not ready, will not be ready. Will be with the depression, problems with the husband and wife, and when the start will open like a running, they are going to, they have no shoes already to start running. So we said at least 2,000 people we will achieve for free, giving what we have, our tools, because we are very productive. We felt a strong need to share. It's like a mission to support our community, our world, to be more able to recover the economy fast when we'll open.
Yeah, Anna is right. And so what we felt was that we
urgency.
Actually needed it. We actually need something like this to invite us to go for our next level. Now, next level meant to transform it, to all of these digital transformation. Look at our business in another way, flipping the business also 360.
But we are very happy. Degrees. We are really very happy doing this.
So yeah,
this is interesting because you guys are actually using the same headset. You're using one in one ear, is that right? That's amazing.
Yes.
I never realized that. I thought that's a really clever way of having a couple being so together and so in love doing this. And you list so this is technology. No one ever imagined this stuff would happen before. And by the way, you're good looking people online. I look like the guy from Up. Do you remember the film Up with the balloons?
Yes.
I'm not great online, you know what I mean? But you guys look pretty
good. You come from here. Your art comes out.
And we want to appreciate and to say thank you to all of your authenticity, vulnerability, willing to share with us. Instagram is going to take us off the air in 5 minutes. So we want really to thank you
before it turns out
for being here to share so much valuable tools. And we also want to ask you, where can people find you? If they want to find you, where can they find you?
I'm all over Facebook. I'm all over. I think if I could have help right now, would be find a BNI group, because that's where you're going to find a group of people that will help you for the future. If you're not in BNI, get in BNI, and just find it. BNI.pt we've got groups all over the country. We have 126 groups. We're launching new groups. So go there, and BNI is a great starting place because you can network with people. And then even if you don't have a business or a passion, you'll find it, because the BNI people are a little crazy because they have to get up sometimes really early in the morning. So you want to be surrounded by people who are motivated. So that would be great. And anybody who's really struggling, I'm really happy to get on a group and help them. I just don't want anyone to go through what they imagine will happen. I don't think it will happen, but there's a lot of people that are really at the, I would hate it if anybody took their life because they just didn't have the right coaching and mentoring to get out of it. So anybody who's feeling really, really like that, they should pick up the phone to any of us.
Yes, for sure.
Or Jose Quintero or Rafa,
For sure. And there is a question that we do always in the end, that is, what was the question that we didn't ask you and you would like to answer?
Wow, that's a really interesting one. Question that I wanted to be asked. I suppose, why am I on this earth? Like, I often think, am I doing all this stuff for some unknown reason? I'm not a religious guy, but if it was something that could be, like, I think I'm here for something, but I haven't figured it out yet. So it might be something around the purpose and the meaning of life, like something like that, maybe. I just think there's something greater than us, and I don't do it in a religious thing. My father was a dreadful guy. My mother threw him out when I was 5, thank God, and he was a poison in religion. So I never experienced it in a positive way. But I just think there's something bigger. There's something bigger, and I hope, and I kind of, in my own little way, maybe wish that my legacy had helped in some way, and I don't know what it is yet. Maybe it's still to come. I'm only young. I'm 49. I have another 150 years to go. So
you have in life a huge legacy already.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
And everyone that are watching this live would agree with us. We have an amazing legacy. Thank you very much again, Terry, to be
Thank
here
you,
with us,
guys.
to inspire us, to share your stories, to share, you know, the way you see life and the way you are making amazing businesses, not only for the money, but for much more than that, is to create that legacy and to inject meaning for people around. And sharing is caring. So yeah, amazing, brilliant, from young men to, you know, to older people. And yeah, you are such an amazing human being that it is a great privilege
to have you here,
to receive you, and we
Big
are
one,
together.
mate.
So we will do a lot. So thank you very much.
Thank you very
All the
much.
best for you
We
guys,
are going
family.
we are going to download this for you too, so we will
great.
share with you. Okay.
Awesome.
Okay, we'll share also the link
Big
with you.
hug
Okay?
for you,
Big
for
hug.
everyone that is here with us. You
Yeah.
can share after the YouTube link to your friends if you enjoy it. So thank you very much, Terry.
Obrigado.
Okay.
Thank you.
Beijinho e
Obrigada.
abraço.
Obrigado.
Beijinho. Thank
Ciao,
you.
ciao.
Thank
Obrigado.
you.
Thank you. Thank you, guys. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.